Thank you very much. We appreciate everyone being here today. My name is Lori Cunningham, and I serve as the Director of the Baltimore City Community Action Partnership under the Mayor's Office of Human Services. And we're so grateful to have you all here today to celebrate us as we open our new location here at 1731 East Chase Street, also known as the EBDI building. We're co-locating with EBDI in this facility in hopes to be able to bring much-needed resources to the community. And speaking of the community, I would like to bring up Diane Jones. She's the manager of the Eastern Cap Center, and she will be introducing one of our customers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to our new facility. Today, I did want to talk to you about case management. That's one of the services that we offer in our community action centers throughout Baltimore City. Case management is an integral part of our services where we assist people to meet self-sufficiency needs. This morning we have one of our clients, Ms. Tracy Brown, who is a mother of 4. She is also a teacher, or she was a teacher in Baltimore City, but due to her children's mental capacity, she had to resign, and she is now a full-time mother. I don't want to tell her story. I want you to hear and listen to what she has to say. Ms. Tracy Brown.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Again, my name is Tracy Brown. As Ms. Diane Jones said, I am a mother of 4. My oldest is a college graduate. Yay! So I do have 3 children still at home. I have 2 boys and my youngest daughter still at home. Both of my sons have autism. So when my second son was diagnosed, it just got to be too much to try to continue to teach full-time, and so I had to take a break. Started getting those phone calls like, hey, we need you to come to the daycare and pick him up. At that time, I was still looking for appropriate resources or daycares that they could go to. So shortly after that, there was that trickle down where you go from being a full-time teacher to part-time substituting, and then your income changes, and then those programs that you weren't eligible for because you were a teacher and a college graduate, now you feel like you need. So at that time, I wanted to try to apply for Section 8 or subsidized housing, and of course, that list was closed. So I found myself always trying to search for a place that was large enough for my family size, but affordable for my income size. And that became extremely difficult because I was always weighing, that location over that size housing, or was it in a good neighborhood for schools? Because I'm a Baltimore City resident, and the schools that the requirements and the criteria for the amount of services that my sons needed could not be met in their local schools. They now attend the Forbes School in Glendon, but I still had to remain a Baltimore City resident. So as I would continue to try to look for affordable housing, that just became extremely difficult. I would call different landlords, I would call listings, and everybody would say, well, you need to have an income that reflects 3 times as much as the rent. And I mean, I lived in a 2-bedroom for 8 years, and that was $1,000. So we're talking about, they wanted my monthly income to be the better part of $3,000 a month. And I'm like, hey, I don't have that kind of money. So I went to a self-help center down in the courthouse after numerous going to rent court, trying to get stays for evictions. And I spoke to a lawyer there, and he made a phone call to another young lady who he thought might could help me, and everybody was out of resources. Everywhere was out of funding. And she said, I think I know somebody who can help. And she referred me to Mr. Weaver at the Action Center. And I called him, and I got an appointment. I came in, and I told him my story. And he said, well, we're going to help you. He made some phone calls to different landlords and real estate agencies that they partner with, and he connected me with the property management company, and As a result of that referral, I was able to get into a 4-bedroom house in the city, and I was like, yes, because 2 bedrooms, we were like this, and my oldest son is 20, my youngest son is 13, and my youngest daughter is 10. So she's like right there at, adolescence, and nobody wants to share a room with their 13-year-old brother. But 2 people with autism, no, cannot share a room. So the boys sharing a room wasn't an option. So being in this 4-bedroom was definitely a blessing. It's also really, I chose this location because I just got my daughter into an all-girl school. There's only 70 girls in the entire school. This school has, each girl receives private sponsorship, so there's no tuition. Hallelujah. So I needed that referral. I needed somebody to stand in the gap and say, hey, we know that, we know she doesn't have a Section 8 voucher. We know that her income is not 3 times, what you want to charge for rent, but we still deserve a place to stay. We still deserve to live somewhere where it's going to be easy for us to get our children to school. We still want to be safe. We still want to have access to the community and the market. And there was a time where everywhere I went, they said, well, you need to go into, when you have that eviction letter and everybody's out of funding, and they say you need to go stay at a shelter. And what many of them do not understand is that you cannot take your autistic children to the shelter. So when you're looking at eviction and even the shelter is not an option for you, what do you say to your children? That 2-bedroom looks real good right about now when you're looking at that option, and homelessness was not an option. So me being able to come to the community, and I live on the west side, I had to come all the way over the east side. But that referral was that piece that I needed for somebody to make that connection and say, hey, we know that normally she wouldn't meet that criteria, but this is a family who really needs, you to accept their application. So as a result, that's what the Community Action Center did for me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. Next, we will bring up Ms. Shanice Clay Rush. Ms. Rush came to us via Mayor Catherine Pugh's squeegee program with her daughter Courtney, and I'll let Shanice come and tell her story.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our facility again. My name is Shanice Clay Rush. Again, I was introduced here through my oldest daughter, Courtney. Courtney is currently the spokesperson, also the advocate for the Squeegee Corps, where they have been on Mayor's website, and they do car washes, and they, squeegee. They just do the squeegee, and she enjoys it. She would come home, and she was very excited for meeting Mayor Catherine Pugh, and she said, "Mom, can you help me? Go with some ideas when we go to the meetings to incorporate what we need to do." So I said, "Fine." In the midst, she introduced me to Lori, because at the time I did not have a job. I was out of a job for a whole year. And she said, "Mom," she said, "you're helping me, so I'm going to help you to see if you can help you get a job." I said, "Okay, that's fine." I said, "But I still want to help you because it's the youth, and I know that you are really passionate about doing this." So she said, "Okay." So I got a phone call from Ms. Cunningham saying, "Well, your daughter Courtney told me about the degree you have and everything that you're doing, so would you like to do data entry?" I said, "Sure." And she said, "Well, Premier Staffing is hiring, and I would like for you to go fill out the application, and I'm going to see to it that it help you get in." I said, "Okay." So I'm like, okay, this is like a dead end because I've been through all this before. And and like a month later, actually, they called me and they said, "Well, you start on such a time." I said, "Wow." And so my daughter was excited, and she said, "See, Mom, I told you the mayor's office, they do help." And so I said, "They do." I said, "And I'm happy." I said, the mayor that we do have, I said, because I said, this was kind of easy. So I'm happy to be here. I work with some tremendous people here. My supervisor is the best. And my coworkers are the best. We are family. Everyone in here is family, and I just love it. And my experience here, and I will continue to work with my daughter with the Squeegee Corp with the help of the mayor. And and Courtney says hello.
We are so happy to have Shanice on our team. There's so many things I can say, but what I will say is she's always full of surprises. She's got great energy. And as she said, she came in for data entry, but she's able to do data entry for energy assistance. She's able to review applications, certify applications, and we're looking forward to having her become a full-time employee hopefully very soon. As well as the other temps that we have, because they are all very dynamic. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our phenomenal mayor, Mayor Catherine Pugh. Since taking office on December 6, 2016, as the 50th mayor of the city of Baltimore, Mayor Pugh has pursued an aggressive agenda to revitalize neighborhoods, create pathways of opportunity for young people in the community peace policing, and accountability within the Baltimore Police Department. Mayor Catherine Pugh has served as a public servant since 1999, and she understands the solutions to the most complex challenges are best determined through collaboration. Prior to assuming her mayoral office, Mayor Pugh was a successful businesswoman serving as president of C. Pugh & Company, a marketing and public relations firm. She's worked as a banker, business developer, dean, and director of Strayer Business College. Mayor Pugh holds an MBA and a bachelor's from Morgan State University. Yay, all the Morganites in the room. She's also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Any more Deltas in the room? A few, yes. And she has also served on many boards during her career and currently serves on the board of directors of the University of Maryland Medical Systems, the Council of State Governments, and is a former president of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. In June of 2018, Mayor Pugh was elected by the U.S. Conference of Mayors as the chair of the task force on the U.S. Census. Thank you very much, and we look forward to you coming on. Thank you.
Lori, let me just first say thank you, but I wanted to take a moment to thank Jack Young, the president of City Council, who put this location on my radar screen and said, you know, this is a city-owned building and we ought to have city services in it. So Jack, let's give him a big round of applause. You'll hear from him. Jack is, you know, such a community-oriented person, somebody who continues to focus on neighborhoods and communities and is a great partner, and I'm grateful for that as well. I also want to acknowledge, I thought our councilman would be, oh, there he is, Councilman Stokes. This is his district. You've got a great councilman advocating on your behalf. And also to Terry Hickey, the director of the Mayor's Office of Human Services, thank you. Lori, thank you for all of your service. And let me just say to the two young ladies who spoke, you know, first of all, I want to say to you, coordinating our services is really important. And I want to say this for Janet Abrams, who's not here. When she came, you know, one of the things I did was separate HABC, the Housing Authority of Baltimore City, from Housing and Community Development, so that we could focus on the Housing Authority and the Section 8 vouchers. And what we learned, and she will tell you, is that our roles were so packed that it would take her calling 8 different locations to find 8 different people to find one person who was actually in need, because many of those people had left those roles. And so what happens is people sign up for Section 8, can't get action on Section 8 because the roles have not been cleaned for a decade, and that's just ridiculous. So what she's asked the federal government to do is allow her to shut it down so she can clean it up, so that when somebody is in need, we're able to assist them right away. In fact, she just informed us on yesterday that she made a request for HUD for 90 more vouchers, and we're able to get them, so that is really great. And also, you all should know that we got $30 million. She came in, she hit the ground running. And I can tell you that people told me that if I separated HABC from HCD, that they were going to come downtown and protest, because that's the way it was and has been for 40 years. And I said, I am the mayor, so guess what? Bring it on. And so I can tell you that it has made a tremendous difference because Janet came in, hit the ground running. That $30 million HUD grant will attract over $800 million in investment in the East Baltimore community. It will be transformative. You see what the Old Town Mall looks like today, and the areas that have been boarded up for decades, and the folks who lived in Perkins homes without air conditioning, without wash machines and dryers. Those things are about to change. You know, it doesn't change overnight, but at the same time, it will change. Whenever I get an opportunity to speak, I can tell you all that, you know, among my concerns as it relates to our community, it's not just providing jobs and housing. You know, people stay in cities for two reasons. You know, just like you, a great place to educate your children, you know, a safe city. You know, the two fastest growing populations in our city are 18 to 34, 55 years of age and older. What happens when is parents have to raise children, you know, they hear about our schools in some cases and they don't think we have great schools, but we do have some great schools. In fact, in my last year in the Senate, we brought back $1 billion to build new schools in the city. Right before school opened, I cut the ribbon on 5 brand new schools in the city. We're on target to build 28 brand new schools in the city, more than the entire state. And here's the other thing that we're doing. You know, when I came on board, there was a proposal on my desk to sell off the garages of the city. It reminded me, you all, and I don't know if many of you are old enough to remember that the city once owned its own airport. We owned BWI. It was then called Friendship Airport. We sold Friendship Airport for $30-some-odd million almost 40 years ago. And we didn't lease it, we sold it. We could have leased it, but that was not the advice that was given back then. And so one of the things that I get an opportunity to say at the Conference of Mayors, when somebody wants to buy something from you, you ought to ask what the value of it is. It's just like our water system. The reason that, you know, I am a big advocate for not privatizing our water system because it is publicly owned and will remain publicly owned. I've said that from the moment I walked in the door as mayor, because we've got to learn how to value our assets. So I didn't sell the garages, but what I did do was lease those garages for 40 years, similar to, and just think about the airport, for example, which means we still earn the income off of them, and then we were able to create a $50 million investment fund, because I want to show folks that we're serious about investing in neighborhoods and communities that have been underinvested in for decades. And what people don't seem to realize is that people have owned those homes for decades. There are people who live inside those neighborhoods, whether you're living next to a boarded-up house or not, but they may own theirs, and so they're not going anywhere. And they want the investment, and they want the transition to take place, and so we're committed to doing that. And so what you'll see as we continue to move forward as it relates to HCD and HABC is more commitment to affordable housing. We are creating a $20 million investment in our investment fund just for, we're creating a $20 million affordable housing fund so that we can invest in neighborhoods and communities and people who need housing. And you're absolutely right. You know, my dad used to tell me when we were growing up, 3 times what you earn is what you can afford. You know, and you should never go beyond that. And what you found during the bubble were people buying above what they could even afford. And now they find themselves without a home. We can do better than that. And it's a part of what this particular agency, this group of folk do. You know, they educate people in terms of financial empowerment. They teach folks about housing and energy services. They're a food resource, and they're capacity building and educational. And it is our responsibility inside of these organizations to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the people who live in our communities. And so there are 5 of these centers around the city. And I was so grateful to hear you mention Squeegee Corps, because what your daughter will tell you in the future is that we're moving. You know, I tell folks that when you think about the folks who are standing on the corner, you know, it's not just about pulling them off the corner, it's about replacing the income that they're making while they're on the corner. And so while we created Squeegee Corps, we wanted to take them off the corner, teach them how to respect those corners. As I tell folks, once you step out into the street, you're illegal. Once you spray somebody's car without their permission, you've committed a crime. And so unless somebody says it's okay, you can't do it. So, but for us, it's about how do we create and replace their income. So I am, and you can tell your daughter that what we're doing is we're working on a program which will cost about $1.7 million a year for the next $1.7 million a year. It's a program that I want to take the squeegee young people who are on our corners and get them to work with us and earn while they learn. We will put them in a 20-hour program where we will pay them, but at the same time, we will develop opportunities for them to replace the income that they're earning, whether it is owning 4 or 5 car washes around the city, getting them to partner in that activity, whether it is cleaning up lots around the city, whether it is a moving company or whatever. Because what I see on those corners are entrepreneurs who want opportunity. But at the same time, there are also young people who are on that corner who are homeless. There are also young people who are on that corner because they don't have a choice. They want, they need to work. As a 14-year-old told me one morning when I stopped him and asked him what was he doing at 10 a.m. in the morning when he should be in school, he said, "Yeah, I'm just trying to make a little money." And long story short, what I found out was that him and his mother and their 2-year-old were actually squatting in a place with no water. And so we eventually were able to get them into housing, only to later learn that she had a drug addiction problem. And so they're now in foster care. I just left him before, which made me a little bit late, Jack, is because I stopped by to see him because he's now in a boarding school because he needed that kind of attention. When you talk about special attention needed for our children, when a child is on the corner every day because they need to work and they're not in school, they require special attention. And so I'm excited about what this organization does. And as I pointed out, we have one in the northern, eastern, southern, northwest, southeast, and this office, I think, really adds to the fabric of our city to meet people where they are. To find talent such as yourself, and somehow to be able to utilize your talent as a teacher, someone who has given so much to so many. But I'm grateful for this effort here, but more importantly about what we will become and what we will do and what we will do together, because when we learn how to lift the least of us, we lift all of us. And the responsibility for this organization is to help people. So thank you, Lori, for all the work that you're doing. And it is not about shelters. We're not building shelters in our city because shelters require people to take their stuff and come in and take their stuff when they leave out. That's a problem. We're building homes for the homeless because that's our responsibility. But at the same time, we want to be able to provide opportunities for folks to work, to share, to give. And so, again, I'm excited about what we're doing. I'm excited about the case management that takes place here. Again, the financial literacy programs and all the other efforts that take place, and the 1,813 tax returns that were done here with a total of over $3 million in federal and state refunds. So again, thank you for your work. And Lori, I had a citation somewhere that I wanted to present to you. Jack, will you join me, please? Jack and I always do these together.
Thank you.
So this is, and Councilman, you want us to come out front?
Okay.
Yeah, let's.
And we'll stand right in front of the table.
Okay, were you able to get it?
I'm so excited about the press guy.
Thank you, everyone. Did you want me to introduce Jen? Ladies and gentlemen, it really gives me an honor and a privilege to introduce someone who's been a great partner, who's worked with me, and again, who identified this place as a place that we should operate from the city perspective, because this is a city building. Yours, mine, our President, City Council, Mr. Bernard Jack Young.
Still morning, right? Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I can't put it any more plainer than the mayor has just eloquently stated. I was excited when EBDI was winding down. I went to Cheryl and I went to, just went by there, what's his name? With Ray Skinner, and said, hey, look, because there was some confusion going on. I said, we need to look at this building and give it back to the city. So I had to go and talk to the councilman, Robert Stokes, because we were moving out of Oliver to here. They was in like a basement. I took the mayor up and showed it to her. The mayor said, oh, no, we can't have this, and brought it down here to this building. She said, oh, yes, immediately. So she said, well, do what you need to do. I called housing and said, it has to be under you guys. Remember, Mayor? So the building's under housing. We still have EBDI with Cheryl still here as they transition out of being in this building. But I'm excited with Tari Hickey and Lori. And I was very excited to hear the stories of the two young ladies to know that this program is actually working, because that's what it's about, building families and keeping families together and keeping them in the great city of Baltimore. I know that the teacher could have moved out of the city, but she wanted to stay in the city, and we really appreciate that, because we're really trying to grow the city. The mayor has her VRI program that's going around the city and making a great difference in reducing violence in some of the most violent places in the city of Baltimore. But I know that we can do better as parents by engaging our young people and talking to them and find out who they're hanging with and why you're hanging with them and why are you doing the things that you're doing. The mayor mentioned the Squeezy Corps. The young guys and young ladies be on the corners, and they're trying to make a living. And we get citizens who get very upset and say they don't want them on the corners. But I would rather for them to be squeezing than out there selling drugs and committing other crimes. So I was excited when the mayor said she was doing Squeezy Corp. And one day they was down City Hall, and I seen all these people, and I was like, I can't park in my space. So I pulled up on the side. It was the mayor's Squeezy Corp out there. And they said, we want to wash your car. I said, well, it just got washed because the city has a little car wash around there. So I haven't had the chance to let them do my car, my truck, but I will the next time I see them, let them, take care of my truck as well. But I want Councilman Stokes to come up here as well, because, he's my councilman. When things go wrong, I call him. I said, Robert, what are you going to do about this, and what are you going to do about that? He said, you're the president. I said, but you're my councilman. I voted for you. So you need to take care of these issues, these problems that I'm having. And he gets it done. He really gets it done. And I try not to, do the work in his district unless he asks for help. And he's the type of council person, he don't want you helping him. He want to get it done himself. But I just appreciate him so much. We've been friends for, I guess, since we were little kids. He lived on Preston Street. I lived on Broadway, right around the corner from him. And then we moved into the 900 block of McDonald Street. And this is where I grew up all my life, and this is where I still reside. And I just want to give my councilman an opportunity to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to give honor to God for being here, but this is special to me because I grew up in the 1700 block of Preston Street. I went to elementary school here at this school, and Mr. President, I think we always joke because the school caught on fire, and I think the president might have done it because he didn't want to go back to school. But I worked through the Mayor Station program through Mayor Kick Out Smoke, and I just want to acknowledge the human service workers here, because y'all are actually on the front line that really do the work to change people's lives and make a difference in their lives. So I think we should acknowledge the employees here.
All the staff, yes.
Thank you for all that you do. It's been a pleasure as the council person that still live in this district, that have a very valid interest in this district. And I just want to thank the young ladies for staying here in Baltimore, even though we have other issues that we work on, the mayor is pushing. And we're not the only city that has this, all over the country. But I just want to leave a quote. As we continue to build buildings, don't forget we got to continue to build people's lives. Because if we don't, we can be back here having the same conversation. So thank you.
Thank Thank you so kindly for everyone's remarks. Next, I would like to bring up our Mayor's Office of Human Services Director, Mr. Terry Hickey. Terry Hickey proudly serves the citizens of Baltimore as the Director of the Mayor's Office of Human Services, where he oversees Mayor Pugh's homelessness strategy and a host of supportive programs, including Head Start, Community Action Partnership, and a long-standing advocate for youth and families. Terry is the former CEO of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the Greater Chesapeake area and the founder of Community Law in Action, a nonprofit that he started while serving as an Open Society Community Fellow. For over a decade, Terry taught legal and legislative advocacy classes at the University of Maryland Carey School of Law. And in recent years, his teaching has included nonprofit management classes at the University of Baltimore's College of Public Affairs and African Studies courses at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. He is also a husband and a proud father of an 8-year-old son with whom he can be found most Sundays exploring the downtown farmers market. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, everyone. I'll make this really brief. I just want to say, when I meet folks and they ask what I do for the mayor and the city and the citizens of Baltimore, I say, this is a tough job. But the great thing is, if I was ever going to work for a mayor, and I was late to city government in my life after many other careers, to work for a mayor and to work with a council president that are so focused on getting stuff done now. And we are only as good as the resources and the support that we get, as are all of you in the room. And so I want to thank both of you. I will put a fine point on this. We got a call that council president was coming over here with the mayor and taking a look, and they toured our existing office, and they came here, and Jack was walking out the door going, we'll get this done. Mayor said, go. I mean, literally, we started the whole process. So I want to thank both of you. This wouldn't have happened. This had to happen fast. But I want to thank EBDI for being such a trusting partner. They let us come in, start setting up shop. I notice our state partners here. People don't realize the resources that come out of CAP centers with energy assistance and case management and fiscal literacy. This is really the best kept secret, I'd like to say, in city government. And we want to make it the opposite of that. We want people to know what's going on. I want to thank the community members in the room and those that live and reside and are leaders in this area. You took a leap of faith for us to come in. The council president and the mayor's support was huge, but you took a leap of faith to say, we would like you in our community. We understand what you bring, because that was a lot of change rather quickly. And I really want to thank the staff. You've heard a lot about what they do for clients and folks that come in off the street and want to work and get help. But just to get in here, that moving from different offices all around the city, finding tables, getting to do all of this while, and I say it with our state partners in the room, it's not like we could stop doing our energy assistance program.
Right.
So the folks that moved in here working with EBDI had to get this all set up while still providing services. We can't shut down. So again, I just want to echo the thanks to all the staff here and all the work that you're doing. This was really a collective effort. And I just want to make a couple quick comments. The mayor talked about homelessness. Lori mentioned that as well. I have the homeless services strategy in my portfolio. There's some amazing things going on in one of the most difficult service areas in our city. We're at a turning point. We're a city that can actually do something about homelessness. We're not LA. We're not Portland. We can make a real difference here. We permanently housed, under the mayor's leadership, we permanently housed 100 chronic street homeless in August. That is unbelievable. 100. That's worth... We are trying to move people out of shelters. We are trying to make sure that there is housing on demand. There's a million stories about what's going on in this regard. But here's the thing. For every one story, for every one phone call that our office gets, we get 10 phone calls from the family that feels they are about to lose their housing. It both gave me chills and hurt my heart a little bit to hear both of your stories, because, you came here and you told your stories, and thank you. They were good endings. But each day we're talking to people that we don't always know how to solve those problems. And when we meet homeless clients, they'll say, 5 years ago, that was their story. They were on this edge. And what we're trying to do with CAP, and I want you to know this is our commitment, the mayor's commitment, CAP needs to be a place people can come where they don't have clean, simple issues. They need somebody to listen, and they need somebody to help problem solve. So we're working on a few things. One, The Mayor's Office of Human Services, for the first time, will be moving all of its eviction prevention rental assistance dollars to the CAP system to be distributed by people that know the community the best. We're working on the best way to get the most resources out. We want to be known as the system that keeps people from losing their housing and lets them find their own success and whatever stability looks like to those families. So you're going to hear a lot in the coming months about prevention. Prevention has to be coupled with homeless services. We want to be successful in both for all of you. We're also looking at a way, and Lori and I just started talking about this, this city is full of seniors, retired individuals, and others that had problem-solving professions. Our case managers know that they're pretty full up every day. Sometimes people come in with messy problems. They don't know how to solve immediately. They just need somebody who can make some calls and think through it for them. So we're going to look for ways to tap into that resource of people out there that want to get out, aren't happy that they retired, still want to talk to people. Can we fill our CAP centers with people that can take phone calls and have people coming in off the street to spend 20, 30 minutes helping you solve your problems, helping you think about where to go for resources so you don't ever have to take advantage of the other services that Human Services puts out there. That's the commitment we want to offer the community through CAP under Lori's leadership, with the mayor's assistance, with all of you. So more to come, but it starts with facilities like this where people can go. So thanks for coming out today. Ma'am, thanks again. Thank you. Council President, thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry. And as Terry said, we do have two of our state funders, the money right in front, Stewart and Bill. Stewart is with our CSBG program, which is one of our funders, as well as Bill, who's with the state with our Office of Home Energy Programs, which you've been hearing about today. And as Terry said and Councilman Stokes has, we have such a phenomenal staff. This work does not happen without each and every team member who's here today and in each of our centers who are on the ground getting the work done. So we truly thank you and appreciate you for everything that you all do day in and day out, and especially with all of the bumps and bruises we've had with moving into this new location. So thank you kindly for that. I'd also like to bring up Angela Martin. Angela is the Executive Director of our regional association, the Maryland Community Action Partnership, which represents Maryland, Delaware, and DC.
Thank you, Lori. To Mayor Pugh, Community Action colleagues and friends. On behalf of Maryland Community Action Partnership, which serves as the association for community action agencies throughout Maryland, DC, and Delaware, we are delighted to be here today to congratulate the Baltimore City Community Action Partnership on this new location. We are excited about what this means for the residents of Baltimore City, the accessibility of programs and services. Community action here serves as a beacon of hope in this community and continues to provide high-quality services that help families move from crisis to stable and thriving. Through their programs of financial empowerment, food and nutrition, self-sufficiency, case management, housing, and energy programs, Baltimore City CAP is making a difference and changing lives. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Economic Opportunity Act, and this act created community action agencies across this nation for the purpose of providing opportunities in the midst of lack, opportunities for work, opportunities for education, opportunities for training. And if you are familiar with the Baltimore City Community Action Partnership, their mission continues this work of reducing poverty and providing opportunities through the programs and services they provide. So we hope that this work, enabled by this investment, will provide handsome dividends through the city of Baltimore through their continued improvement, high performance, and outcomes that result in changed lives. So thank you, Baltimore City Community Action Partnership, for your commitment to enhancing the community and for eradicating poverty and the causes and conditions of poverty. So thank you. We see a lot of our friends of Community Action in the room. We have representatives from the National Community Action Partnership. Community action agencies, as you all know, are 1,000+ strong and serve every county throughout the U.S. So we thank our national partners for being here also. Thank you.
So again, thank you everyone for coming. We do truly appreciate you all for coming and also braving this warm weather that we're having inside the building for some reason today. We will have refreshments right outside of the door to the back area, and you are welcome to get refreshments as well as to tour the building. So thank you very kindly for coming, and this concludes our program.